Hello YouTube, happy to be back. Said that I would do a quick review of the Seiko Snj025, the Arnie reissue. And here I am to talk about it. I've had it for about 3 days now, so I've had a chance to see what it's like. And I've already seen some really good things about it and some things that are not as good. But first of all, the thing that surprised me the most was the weight of it, because it's quite a large watch, even though when it's on your wrist it doesn't feel it because it's really light, which I was very surprised. So it's much lighter than, say, a Turtle, which I also have, and it's easy to compare them. I mean, this thing easily feels a pound heavier than this, but if you look at them, I mean, the size is very comparable. So this is really my only other Seiko, so it's what I'm going to relate this to. So one of the things about it is that it's light, which is a plus, I think, for a military-inspired watch. One of the other things I like are these very large buttons that are on the side, and the large crown as well, which seem to match and complement each other very well. Now, I was surprised that the crown itself feels a little rough. When you go in and out, you almost feel as if there's a little resistance in the screw, and I'm wondering if it won't work itself out in time, but certainly now it just feels a little rough. But overall build quality of this thing is very tight. I mean, the specs are really nice, and that might be a little surprising due to one thing, which I was surprised about, is that the watch is made in China, which I didn't realize. But then, I mean, they have the same robots in China as they do in Malaysia or Japan, but I would have thought that it'd be made in Japan, but it's not. It's made in China. Nevertheless, very solid watch, a very shiny back with the wave, the tsunami back there inspired etching, which is really lovely. And really nice and shiny, which is something to obsess over because I'm always trying to clean that off. And so buttons are very balanced, which I think is a really nice touch, because looking at the vintage pics of the original, the buttons were much smaller. Now, the buttons are interesting because on this side, you loosen them sort of counterintuitively. You kind of screw them down. They go down the post, and then that frees the buttons. And I'll just hit the light there, which you won't see probably because of the light I have on. But the top button activates the button. The bottom button puts it through the different phases of the digital display. Now, the interesting thing about this too, and I don't know how the original was, but this is really a digital watch with an analog display, because you set the time digitally, and then the hands on the analog set automatically to the time, which is really neat, because the time was about 2 minutes off when I got it. So then I fixed it, and once I did, the analog hands just snapped right into place. And I'm told that also happens when you put it in storage and it goes into a low power mode, that the numbers will go to 12 to save power, and then once it's exposed to light, they snap right back into place as to whatever time it is. I believe it has something like a 6-month power reserve. So that's really cool, and it's kind of fun. You almost want to set the time a lot because it's fun to see them move. Another thing is that the bezel isn't super chunky. It moves really easily. It makes that noise. When I looked at the pictures before I ordered it, I thought it was a much chunkier bezel, kind of closer to the Turtle, but it's not. But it does move really easily, but not too easily where you feel like if you were to bump it, it would go off. So that's really cool. Sounds like an airplane's going by. The lume on it is really nice. It shines actually brighter than my Omega Speed or not Seamaster, I have an Omega Seamaster. And the loom shines much brighter on this than it does on that. So that's a bit of a surprise. Another thing, and something I read that people complain about, is this keeper. People think it's really cheap because it's metal and has these cutouts. I actually kind of like it. To me, it sort of looks vintagey. I mean, I was actually around in the 1980s, and it looks like something that would have been on a watch then. I actually did have a clone of the original Arnie watch. It was a copy, a really poor copy. I don't remember who made it back in the day. But it's a very stretchy band, which is very comfortable. You could also see switching it out, maybe putting it on a NATO strap. Might be really nice. It does sit rather high. See that? So if you wear dress shirts to work, it's going to tear up your cuffs. So keep that in mind. It's very much a sport watch, although I did wear it today with a suit and was very cognizant of what it would be doing to my cuffs. But all in all, very, very pleased with it. It's fun to wear, it's light. People notice it. I had a guy today say to me, wow, that is a really big watch. And it is, but once again, I'm going to hold it up with the turtle. And I mean, the size difference, right? It's not that far off. But I guess it's a lot thicker, isn't it? Oh, sorry, I'm moving it because it's focusing on my wrist. There we go. So, just to give you a little side by side there. But the band, very comfortable, feels very finished. I think it's silicone, but it doesn't attract any dust or lint. This is 3 days old and it still looks brand new, the band. You know, some of these get really sticky. And the watch itself, how well does it keep time? Seems perfect to me, but I haven't really had it long enough. And it's very comfortable to wear. And you just feel kind of cool wearing it. I mean, to me it brings back images of movie Predator and Commando and whatnot. And it just feels very sporty and very much ready for action. So that's my very non-technical review, and hopefully it gave you some information about it and will help you make your decision if you decide to buy it. I'd say you really can't go wrong. I got mine for in the high 300s from Macy's of all places because they were the only one who had it that I could find, and they had it at list price. But Macy's is very easy to find coupons for, so I got the price down to the high 3s, and then they shipped it. I got it in 2 days and it came right from Seiko, so that might not be a bad way to buy it. So there's a little bonus tip for you, since I noticed that all the really good popular watch shops are sold out, and I think even Seiko might be sold out. So there you go. That's my quick review of the Seiko Snj025. Forgive the terrible technical difficulties here because I'm very much not used to doing this, but just wanted to help because I don't see a lot of information out there. So good luck. Post in the comments if you would how you made out, whether or not you want one. If I missed anything that I could maybe cover in a second video, or if you have any questions that I can answer, happy to help. Good luck, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.